Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Thin Line Defense. This is Joe. Today I'm going to be doing a video regarding the Springfield Armory Hellcat, specifically the trigger. So I watched a couple videos and I've heard, I've seen some things on the internet where people are talking about the trigger, an issue with the trigger being unusable or unsafe. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I think I have it narrowed down pretty well. And I'm going to let you guys decide whether or not it's a carry gun or not with this trigger. So as you can see, I have my Mod 240 Hellcat, the original XD, Mod 2 9mm, all cleared out on the table. Let me talk to you a little bit about our videos real quick. So we don't get paid anything for our videos. We only make our videos in order to get information that we think about certain gear or guns or anything else, or how-to videos out to the normal public. So if you don't mind, hit like, subscribe to our channel. That definitely helps us out, maybe gets us on some manufacturer radars to send us stuff so we can review for you guys. But I am recording this in my basement off of my phone while holding my phone, so I apologize if it's a little jumpy. I'm just trying to get the information out, and I don't have a cool fancy tripod that sits over top of the gun so I can show you. So I'm going to try to do this entire video one-handed while recording with the other hand. So let's get into it. Okay, I'm just going to jump into this bottom line up front. Show you exactly what the Hellcat trigger is doing, why it's doing it, and then I will show you the other guns. So if you can see up here, there's a bump right there. That bump keeps the trigger from firing unless you pull the center of the trigger out of the way. See it moving? And then that allows the trigger to collapse inside the polymer frame, and then it'll allow it to go off. That's without pulling the center. So what is happening is, people are saying sideways pressure. It's not sideways pressure either way. It's if that little bump hits the frame first, the center of the trigger is next to impossible to get to collapse. So if you put your finger square on the trigger and the first thing that gets pulled back is the center of the trigger safety, you'll be fine. This gun will shoot all day long. For any reason, I don't care if it's, oh, I pushed the trigger to the side, in the heat of the battle, I just grab the side of the trigger first, and I'll show you right here. So if you pull it back first and then try to roll, that's 100% of my force. I cannot squeeze that any harder. I mean, it's leaving a huge indent in my finger. So if this trigger gets pushed back first, where the trigger safety back here hits the polymer frame first, right there, that trigger will not be able to be pulled to the rear. For any reason. So if it goes back first, and then you try to pull the trigger, you are not going to be able to pull the trigger. That is as hard as I can squeeze. So, if you're here just to see what's wrong with the trigger, that's it. Now, you have to determine whether or not you're going to carry this as a personal carry. I don't have a problem with it. When I shoot this gun, I've never had a problem. The only reason why that I knew that there was a problem was somebody on the internet said there was a problem. So I obviously love Springfield Armory. I decided to start looking into it. But for my everyday carry, I mean, my true everyday carry, 9mm Mod 2. But I don't have any issue carrying this. I hope Springfield does make some sort of correction and sends it out to people. It'd be super easy just to change that out. There are 2 roll pins that hold it in there. It's the design. It's both the design of the trigger block and the frame. So where they meet up, once those 2 touch each other and you try to pull back, you try to pull that to the rear, it's not going to, because there's an angle shelf. So the polymer lower itself is angled this way, And then when the little notch for the trigger lockout touches that, it can't go over it. I'll show you with the other guns. So this is a little bit different design. I'll try to take some close-up pictures as close as I can get and put them at the end of the video. But if you're just here to see the problem with the trigger, that's the problem. If you do not pull that trigger straight back or get purchase on the trigger lockout, trigger safety, whatever you want to call it, if you do not pull this back before the trigger starts moving, you will not be able to fire the gun. There it is again, squeezing it hard as I can. So you have to pull the trigger safety back first and then the trigger, or else it will not fire. Bottom line up front, that's the problem with the trigger. Now let's look at the other XD and see if they have the same problem. Okay, here is the Mod 2 chambered in 40. Look at that paint job. Still holding up pretty good. You can see a couple nicks on it. I mean, I do carry this, but yeah, Cerakote holds up pretty well. I think I've had this painted for about 2 years now. Probably carry it a couple times a month in alien gear holster, so half Kydex, half synthetic material. Holding up pretty well. Alright, let's look at the trigger. So you can see, that's my striker indicator. I know that it's charged. Okay, so does have a trigger safety. I'm just pulling the side of the trigger right now. Let's see if it does the same thing. So I'm going to pull it all the way back, and then I'm going to roll my finger into the trigger safety. It does not have the same problem. If you pull this trigger back where the trigger safety hits the polymer up top, and then roll over onto the safety, it will still fire. Okay. Mod 2 9mm. Sure, going to be the same thing. Yep, same thing. Can still be fired, even if that trigger safety hits the polymer. The original XD. Well, this paint's holding up well. This is one of the very first guns that I ever painted and stippled. You can see some pretty aggressive stippling. So now I'm first learning. I love it though. It looks beat up and rugged, and that was the purpose of it. Okay. So there's the trigger, the safety against the frame. Nope. It will fire just fine. Sets all the way back. You can see all the way back against the frame. Roll over. It'll fire just fine. So it is an issue only with the Hellcat. Alright, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about the video. Tell us what you think about the gun itself. Leave anything that you want down in the comments. We'll try to answer any ones that really require an answer. But thanks again, and again, thank you very much for liking and subscribing. Please do that. It'll really help us out get some better equipment, so I don't have to keep holding my phone, and get some better gear on here for us to review for you guys and gals. Thank you very much. Okay, I was able to set up a different light source, just flashlight. Maybe be able to show you exactly what this is doing. So you see it hitting the frame right there? After it hits the frame, right there, you cannot pull that centerpiece up or back to get that up over the frame. That's what it's doing. It's probably just the angle of that. Who knows? I might shave that down a little bit. See if I can't fix it myself. One more thing. I had this sitting up here. Wanted to give an idea out there for any of the archers out there. I had quite a few broken arrows trying shots with my daughter at 80, 90 yards with a 3-pin sight that I only have sighted in for 80 yards, hitting either the ground or the wooden frame around targets and just shattering arrows every once in a while. So I had a couple broken arrows, didn't know what I was going to do with them. decided to go down, buy just some cheap pins. I think these are the big cheap pins. You know, the ones that you could get like 10 pins in a pack for $2. So I cut the arrows down to the length that I wanted, and then I had to shave a little bit off of where it goes into the arrow right here or into the pin. I had to shave off a little bit with a razor blade, but ended up just shoving a pin into there, and now I have arrow pins laying all around my house. There's an idea, doing my part to recycle. All right, thanks.